Hello, I have great news. Hannah Katie Keys arrived in the world on Thursday at a healthy 8 pounds 1 ounces. And today is Sunday, and she came home from hospital yesterday. So we are waiting to get the word to go over and meet her. But old woman got to meet her yesterday, and she said she's absolutely beautiful. And I have seen pictures of her, and she just has the most, she's really plump and squashy and has the most beautiful mouth, and it's just all so thrilling. And I want to tell you about what I was doing yesterday and last night, because it's sort of a personal watershed for me. Okay, I'll give you a little bit of background, because some of you who watch this aren't from Ireland and they don't understand the Irish laws. Okay, in 1983, which was 34 years ago, abortion was very much illegal in Ireland, and there was no chance that it would ever be made legal. However, the Catholic right did a campaign and got a clause put in our constitution making the life of the mother equal to the life of the fetus. So in Ireland, a woman has the same, her life is the same worth as the life of the fetus that she's carrying. So that has made things very difficult for women who need abortions. And so they've had to travel, they've had to leave Ireland. And a few years later, there was another referendum to try to stop pregnant women from travelling. Like, that's how bad it is. And mercifully, that was defeated. Anyway, so when you hear the phrase repeal the eighth, it's people who want to repeal that amendment to our constitution that made the woman's life equal to the life of her fetus. And last night there was an event. Well, in fact, all day there was like a series of events in the Project Arts Theatre, and it was artists for the repeal, artists for repeal the eighth, and it was a kind of a thing on a stage, and it was reading out of testimonies of women who have travelled, but it was more than that. Like, it was slightly dramatised, and for a long time, you see, I was brought up with extreme shame. I mean, as a Catholic, you're born with, allegedly, original sin. So even before you have arrived into the world, you're already a sinner. Like, that's the message that I got from really young. And which is nonsense, you know? But like, the whole country was drenched with shame. And there was a very rigid and small template for how an Irish woman should be, which was mild, obedient, meek, modest, silent, put everybody else before her. And I mean, I could see that there was a lot wrong with all of that. But anytime I tried to voice a contrary opinion, I got shamed. And it would immediately shut me down. And it's taken me a long time to get past that shame. You know, because they say, like, nobody's born with shame. Like, shame is learnt, they say. But I kind of disagree with that. Shame is taught. And I was taught shame. And it's been a long, I don't know, period of work to try and break free of the shame. And by standing up last night and reading that piece, I felt like I had finally got past that shame. And it was just, it's wonderful for me. And I have no doubt that I will receive all kinds of strange and hate-filled messages. But that doesn't matter anymore, because my internal trawl is silent. And that's really all that matters. Now, this is specific, my internal trawl on the whole specific Catholic thing is all I'm talking about, because I have other shames as well, you know, as I talked about last week about body image and stuff. But this particular one, so I feel very free and happy And then, didn't I meet Hosier? And got my photograph taken with him. And he is very lovely, immensely tall, very kind, very gentle face, lovely glasses, grand head of hair, but it was up in a hat. So it was very, very excellent all round, you know. So now I have books to show you. Hold on. This here is the most beautiful book. It is called Tangleweed Brain, and it's by Deirdre O'Sullivan, who is the most lovely young Irish woman writer. And this is a retelling of familiar fairy tales. And so you can see the book is sort of, it looks like a fairy tale book that you'd give to nippers. And in fact, there's even illustrations. Hold on, I'm going to show you. Can you see there? That's the Cinderella illustration. And they are poetic and, oh God, they're so beautifully written, but they're so real, ominous. It's sort of filled with dread. It's really interesting. I mean, I would say that it would be really good to give to, I was going to say teenage girls, but teenage boys as well, but all ages, because we're all on a journey to kind of, to see, hang on now, to give ourselves perspective on the way we've been conditioned, and this is really, really good at it. And it's lovely. It's lovely and it's wonderful and it's informative and it's thought-provoking. Now, I have more. This is called The Choice. It's by a woman called Edith Eger. It will be out on the 7th of September, which is the same day as mine's book. This is a non-fiction, it's a memoir. She's a Hungarian woman who was in Auschwitz when she was 15. And I cannot describe to you how powerful this book is. It's, I barely have words. I mean, she went on, she survived obviously. She eventually got to the States and she eventually trained as a psychotherapist, specializing in PTSD. And she brings all of the insight that she has now to her situation back then. And so, I mean, the things that she describes are obviously horrific, but you stay with it. I stayed with it because she minded me through it. Like, she's an amazing storyteller, and it almost feels disrespectful to call an account of a time in a concentration camp as a story. But I mean, obviously it's an important story, but then she goes on and she describes life as a housewife in America in the 50s and how depressing it was. Like how, you know, how everybody was playing happy families, that there was kind of a post-war fiction, that the world was lovely. And then she describes how she goes on to train and her work. She talks about her marriage. The thing is, you won't miss this. It's going to be everywhere. It's going to be huge. And anyone I've spoken to who has read early copies, we've all been just staggered. It's a book about forgiveness. I should have said that. Like, ultimately she forgives, and it's about the power of forgiveness. That it's far more painful to be angry and to hold grudges. And look, I'm a fine one to talk, because we know about me and my agins. But read it, read it, read it, read it. Now, one more thing. It is a new Clinique mascara. And I have to read it because it's a lash curling one, sort of. It's a lash elevating mascara. Now, I use about 3 different mascaras on my lashes of a day. I start with the little black primer because that's a tint that doesn't make your eyelashes crunchy. And then I will use something else. You know, maybe maybe the Beauty Pie one, which is a thickening one. And then, so I started using this one. Are my lashes elevated? Are they high? I don't know. Well, I like it anyway. It's always exciting. A new mascara is always a reason to celebrate. So, I have been tray busy. I have been recording radio ads, doing interviews, being filmed, writing stuff. But it's all good, you know, and I'm feeling very happy about going into my publication, which is a nice way to feel instead of bricking it. I'm still worried about how I'm going to look on the telly, but sure, look it. In the overall scheme of things, you know. So next Monday I'll be in London, and then it'll all be kicking off in a major way. So anyway, so that's all my news. Are you well? It's a bank holiday in England. Well, I hope you're enjoying it. We had ours at the start of the month, and then what happens on Friday? Yes, 1st of September. I know. So good times are coming, and I have very little else to tell you, but I hope you're well, and thank you for all of that, and I will talk to you next Monday. Adios, amigos.